This is the Champs-Élysées in Paris. And this is the Avenue de la Grande Armée. They are both famous for being popular and beautiful streets in Paris. However, there's something about these streets that is not beautiful. Any guess as to what that could be? Oh, yes, it's the 8 lanes of car traffic that funnel cars right through the middle of Paris along these two streets. However, this won't be the case for much longer. Paris has plans to turn these two famous streets into incredible pedestrian gardens. This is part of a citywide effort to rethink car travel within the city. Paris wants to limit the amount of cars that cross its city center and has come up with some pretty cool initiatives that will tackle this problem. Paris has an ongoing initiative to increase green space within the city. This will take many forms, but much of this green space will be created by reclaiming space from cars. There's tons of awesome urbanism projects going on around Paris, but the two projects I want to specifically look at today are the Champs-Élysées, which is the famous shopping district, and the Avenue de la Grande Armée, which is the avenue that sits across from the Champs on the other side of the Arc de Triomphe. When they are complete, it will be a long stretch of pedestrian-friendly green space, and I think they will serve as two pretty amazing examples of the power of good urbanism and the incredible spaces cities can create by limiting cars. This is what the Champs-Élysées looks like right now. And this is what it will look like after the whole project is complete. If you were a pedestrian, which one would you rather walk down? In its current state, it is basically an 8-lane highway behemoth. Nearly all of the space is consumed by cars, which are simply passing through. The new Champs-Élysées is slated to be turned into a, quote, large garden. Even though it's famous for shopping, it has a pretty insane amount of cars on it. Way more than there actually needs to be. And Paris decided that it's time to make the famous street more enjoyable for pedestrians. The $305 million plan will cut the number of cars on the Champs in half and add way more trees along the street. The number of car lanes in each direction will decrease from 4 lanes in each direction to 2 lanes, and new pedestrian spaces will be created as sidewalk space will more than double in size. These new tree-lined sidewalks will be way better than walking along what was basically an 8-lane highway. What will make it even awesomer is the new dining and cafe concepts. There will be ample new outdoor seating for people to enjoy cafe and dining experience along the Champs without a giant 8-lane highway thoroughfare ruining the vibe. Paris also has plans to add 2 bike lanes that will be separated from car traffic and better pedestrian crosswalks that will make it much easier to cross the avenue. There will also be a focus on art, with some new art installations showing up along both the Champs and around Paris. At the end of the Champs is the Arc de Triomphe, which, well, is also swamped with cars. Paris is planning to remodel the space around the Arc de Triomphe, creating more space for people and less space for cars. This will make the Arc de Triomphe way more enjoyable for pedestrians and tourists. Right now, it just sits in the middle of a pit of vehicle traffic, but not for much longer. In these new plans, you can see the new pedestrian space that's planned around the Arc itself. Now, let's look at the other side of the Arc de Triomphe, where the Avenue de la Grande Armée is slated to have a similar redesign. Avenue de la Grande Armée, compared to the Champs-Élysées, is more popular with locals than tourists, because it links the city core to La Défense, which is France's main business district. Right now, the avenue also has 8 lanes of car traffic that brings a ton of pollution and noise and makes it less enjoyable to walk along. However, like the Champs, there's a new plan that will cut vehicle traffic on the avenue in half. Along the avenue, 2 parking lanes on each side will become sidewalk, freeing up space for a new pedestrian promenade and rain garden. The 6 central car lanes, meanwhile, will be reduced to 4, and the narrow bike path will be expanded to be the same width as a car lane and will be protected by barriers. The Avenue de la Grande Armée will also feature a lot of the same pedestrian concepts that are seen on the Champs-Élysées. To farther decrease the amount of cars on the road, Paris is in the midst of a massive expansion of its metro system. It's called the Grand Paris Express, and when it's done, will add 120 miles of track to the system and carry an estimated 2 million passengers a day. This investment in reducing cars from the city is awesome. Paris is doing a lot of things right to make their city even more walking and biking friendly, and just more enjoyable to spend time in. So, if Paris can do it, can American cities do it too? What's stopping American cities from undertaking transformative projects like this? Well, it comes down to where the money is spent. Paris is investing heavily in infrastructure that reduces cars, while the US invests heavily in making it easier for more cars to traverse cities. Over the past few years, billions of dollars have been spent in the US on widening highways. The US wastes money on this just one more lane theory. The idea that widening a highway will make traffic magically go away is plain wrong, and has been wrong time and time again. Imagine if that money was spent on projects like what Paris is doing, investing in pedestrian spaces and metro networks. We could both alleviate traffic and make our cities more enjoyable. We get stuck in the mindset that just because a lot of people in the US have cars, that money shouldn't be spent on biking and transit. It should only be spent on roads. However, if we keep doing that, then things will never change. That's the reason that most US public transit systems are so limited, because we only ever spend money on car infrastructure. Paris is a refreshing example of what happens when money isn't just spent on car infrastructure. However, it's not too late for the US to implement things like this, and there are a few examples of turning wide streets into pedestrian spaces happening right now in America. One example is in Cincinnati. Central Parkway is an obnoxiously wide road that cuts through the city. It currently has 6 lanes and only narrow sidewalks on each side. But there's a plan in place that will transform it into a mini Champs. The city wants to implement some similar concepts, with plans to shrink the car footprint, make it easier to cross, and line the street with trees. I hope that as Paris continues to reimagine its avenues into people spaces, more US cities will see the benefits and consider where their infrastructure budgets are being spent. Paris's plans for its avenues are awesome, and is one of the coolest urban design projects going on right now. It's a fantastic example of how much better a space can become when you just remove some of the cars.